Former President Donald Trump is once again making waves with a series of bold executive orders. These orders touch upon immigration, economic policy, and social issues. Trump, known for his unconventional approach to governance, seems to be doubling down on his signature policies. His actions have sparked both praise and criticism from various corners of the political spectrum. The impact of these executive orders remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: Trump's presidency continues to be anything but predictable. Trump's use of executive orders has been a hallmark of his presidency. He argues that these orders are necessary to circumvent congressional gridlock and implement his agenda swiftly. Critics, however, contend that his frequent reliance on executive action undermines the legislative process and expands presidential power beyond its constitutional limits. The debate over the scope of executive authority is a long-standing one in American politics, and Trump's actions have reignited this debate with renewed vigor. The legal challenges to Trump's executive orders are likely to be numerous and protracted. Opponents argue that these orders exceed his presidential authority and infringe upon the rights of individuals and states. They point to the separation of powers doctrine, which divides governmental authority among the executive, legislative, and judicial branches, as a safeguard against tyranny. Supporters of Trump's actions counter that the president has broad discretion in executing the laws and protecting national interests. They argue that the executive orders are a legitimate exercise of presidential power. The courts will ultimately decide the fate of Trump's executive orders. The judiciary's role in reviewing executive action is crucial in upholding the rule of law and ensuring a balance of power within the government. The outcome of these legal battles will have far-reaching implications for the future of American governance. Trump's presidency has been marked by a constant push and pull between the executive and judicial branches, and this tension is likely to continue as his latest executive orders make their way through the court system. One of the most controversial executive orders issued by Trump is the Green Card to Gold Card policy. This program aims to overhaul the existing immigration system by creating a new tier of residency based on investment. Under this policy, individuals who invest a significant amount of capital in the United States would be eligible for a gold card, granting them preferential treatment in the immigration process. Trump argues that this policy will attract much-needed foreign investment and boost the American economy. The Green Card to Gold Card policy has drawn comparisons to similar programs in other countries, such as the Golden Visa programs offered by some European nations. These programs have been criticized for essentially selling citizenship to wealthy foreigners, potentially exacerbating inequality and undermining the principle of equal opportunity. Critics of Trump's policy argue that it caters to the wealthy elite at the expense of ordinary Americans, further widening the gap between the rich and the poor. Proponents of the Green Card to Gold Card policy counter that it will stimulate economic growth by attracting foreign capital and creating jobs. They argue that the influx of investment will benefit the American economy as a whole, trickling down to all segments of society. However, critics remain skeptical, pointing to the potential for abuse and exploitation inherent in such a system. They fear that the program will primarily benefit wealthy investors and corporations, while doing little to improve the lives of ordinary Americans. The Green Card to Gold Card policy is a radical departure from traditional immigration policies, which typically prioritize family reunification and humanitarian concerns. Trump's emphasis on economic investment as a criterion for residency represents a significant shift in immigration policy, one that is likely to have profound and lasting consequences for the demographic makeup and economic landscape of the United States. The long-term impact of this policy on American society remains to be seen, but it is certain to be a subject of intense debate and scrutiny for years to come. Trump's Green Card to Gold Card policy seems to draw inspiration from Switzerland's economic model. Switzerland, a small, landlocked country in the heart of Europe, boasts a robust and prosperous economy. Its success is often attributed to its business-friendly policies, low taxes, and skilled workforce. Trump has expressed admiration for Switzerland's economic policies in the past, and his Green Card to Gold Card policy appears to be an attempt to emulate some aspects of the Swiss model. Switzerland's economic success is undeniable, but its model is not without its critics. Some argue that Switzerland's prosperity comes at the expense of other countries, as its low tax rates and lax financial regulations attract multinational corporations and wealthy individuals seeking to minimize their tax burden. Others point to Switzerland's high cost of living and income inequality as evidence that its economic model is not without its flaws. Despite these criticisms, Switzerland's economic prowess continues to be a source of fascination and inspiration for policymakers around the world, including, it seems, former President Trump. Trump's attempt to replicate Switzerland's economic success in the United States faces numerous challenges. The United States is a vastly different country than Switzerland in terms of size, population, diversity, and political system. What works in Switzerland may not necessarily translate well to the American context. Moreover, Trump's policies have often been characterized by protectionism and unilateralism, which stand in contrast to Switzerland's tradition of free trade and international cooperation. It remains to be seen whether Trump's green card to gold card policy, inspired by the Swiss model, will achieve its intended goals of stimulating economic growth and attracting foreign investment. The policy's success will depend on a multitude of factors, including global economic conditions, investor confidence, and the implementation of complementary policies. Only time will tell whether Trump's gamble on a Swiss-inspired economic approach will pay off or fall short of expectations. In addition to his domestic policies, Trump has also made headlines for his handling of international relations. In a recent social media post, Trump mistakenly referred to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as Governor Trudeau. This gaffe, while seemingly minor, has sparked outrage in Canada and raised concerns about Trump's understanding of and respect for international diplomacy. The incident has further strained the already tense relationship between the United States and Canada, two countries that share a long history and close economic ties. Trump's misidentification of Trudeau is not an isolated incident. Throughout his presidency, Trump has repeatedly made disparaging remarks about foreign leaders, allies, and adversaries alike. His unconventional approach to diplomacy, characterized by blunt language, personal attacks, and a disregard for diplomatic norms, has alienated many world leaders and damaged America's standing on the global stage. Trump's supporters argue that his America First approach is necessary to protect American interests and challenge the status quo. However, critics contend that his abrasive style has undermined American leadership and made it more difficult to achieve foreign policy objectives. The strain in U.S.-Europe relations is particularly concerning. Trump's withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement, his imposition of tariffs on European goods, and his criticism of NATO have all contributed to a cooling of relations between the United States and its European allies. This rift has created an opportunity for other global powers, such as China and Russia, to assert themselves on the world stage. The weakening of the transatlantic alliance, a cornerstone of the post-World War II order, has far-reaching implications for global security and stability. Trump's presidency has been marked by a tumultuous relationship with the international community. His unconventional approach to diplomacy has both supporters and detractors, but there is no denying that his actions have had a profound impact on America's standing in the world. As the United States navigates a rapidly changing global landscape, it remains to be seen whether Trump's foreign policy legacy will be one of strength and renewal, or one of isolation and decline.